Cougars are no ordinary predators. They live in a super harsh environment and have to be extra tough to survive in it, something that molded them into a nightmare for predators and prey alike, which is exactly what we're about to see today. There were a bunch of elk just chilling in the forest here eating grass, and everything was cool until they got this weird vibe, like something was off. They kept their cool and started looking around to see if there was anything out of the ordinary. But then, bam! A cougar came out of nowhere, popping out from behind the trees. It went full Rambo on the elk, and those poor suckers didn't stick around to chat. They ran as fast as they possibly could, but the cougar had already picked its target, and it wasn't going to let it go. These guys were chomping on grass like it was going out of style. They were totally clueless about the danger lurking nearby. And suddenly a cougar came charging in. It quickly tackled an unfortunate baby elk, and its mom tried to play hero and save it, but no dice. It was like trying to arm wrestle a bulldozer. The rest of the herd didn't stick around to watch. They split faster than a banana in a smoothie. Meanwhile, the cougar went to town on its catch, trying to kill it as fast as it could. A hunter's camera was able to catch an elk family while they relaxed on top of a mountain here. They were surrounded by grass so thick you'd think Mother Nature was trying to hide her lawn clippings, plus a bunch of trees that hadn't hit their growth spurt yet. But even there, a cougar still managed to spot them somehow, and it snuck up on them and jumped out like it was yelling "Surprise!" at a birthday party, except it was planning a death date for them. Before the poor creatures knew what hit him, the cougar jumped on their calf, and the parents did nothing but run and ditch it. What a couple of cowards. This cougar took its sweet time trying to get close to an elk, and it was making some amazing progress. But it ended up ruining everything in the end. It was impressive how it managed to advance without being seen, even though the elk was looking directly at it. But it failed to capitalize on it. With its stomach growling, this puma had no choice but to hunt. But it picked the worst possible target. It spotted a guanaco and pounced on the poor thing like it was a trampoline. It was trying to take it down and strangle it, but this one turned out not to be a pushover. The guanaco fought back like it was in a karate tournament, and it was running so fast the puma couldn't catch a break. But man, was that big cat stubborn, more stubborn than a toddler at bedtime. It clung to the guanaco tighter than your grandma grips her purse in a crowded mall, and each time the terrified guanaco threw it off, it would jump right back on its back, refusing to let it escape. This hunter was playing paparazzi with his camera, zooming in on a guanaco that was wandering around in a massive field. Out of nowhere, a hungry cougar crashed the scene. It was eyeing that guanaco like it was the last slice of pizza at a fat chick with BF problems party. It waited for just the right moment, then it charged. The big cat went for the guanaco's weak spots, and before you know it, it was stuck to its neck trying to finish it. This guanaco was running like it had rocket boosters strapped to its hooves, and it was desperately trying to ditch the puma like it was a bad date. But the puma just wasn't giving up, no matter what the guanaco did. Finally, the puma tackled that guanaco and took it down, and it started going to town on it. The poor guanaco fought back harder than a cat in a bathtub, but it was no use. In the end, the puma got its supersized meal, and the guanaco, it became the special of the day in this not-so-happy meal. But what about bears? Surely they must be able to stand up to these big cats, right? Wrong. When this bear cub came close to where a cougar was keeping its cubs, the crazy feline went ballistic. It charged at the bear and cornered it, and I'm pretty sure that the thing got PTSD from it. But yeah, that was only a cub. Of course it could take it. What about a fully grown bear? How many seconds would it last against that, you might ask? Well, you don't need to wonder for long. 'Cause that cub ran to its mom, and it came to teach the cougar a lesson. Or so it thought. The angry bear tried to attack the cougar's cubs, but just like the cougar terrified and humiliated the cub, it did the same thing to its mom. I'm pretty sure that bear went back home to its cub like, well, turns out you were the one who started it all, so I apologize to them. Check this one out. This bear made the exact same mistake as the last one, and it came too close to a cougar's cubs. The furious puma came charging in like it was late for a date, and it scared the poor bear so much that it climbed up a tree faster than a kid running from vegetables. But whoops! The tree bark started crumbling, and down went the bear. The puma was about to climb after it anyway, but its job was made a bit easier. Our bear buddy realized that it was do or die time, and it fought back with all the fury of a Karen that had been told the ice cream machine was broken. In the end, both animals continued on their own way, and I'm pretty sure the bear learned its lesson. While out on a stroll, this bear was probably thinking about its next picnic basket when it decided to take a dip in a nearby swamp. Little did it know a cougar was playing hide and seek in the grass, eyeing the bear and planning to teach it a lesson. The sneaky cougar pounced on the bear while it was splashing around like a kid in a puddle. The bear was all, "Hey, no fair!" as it tried to dodge the cougar's paw punches in the water, and the whole thing looked like a sloppy boxing match in Jell-O. The bear finally managed to escape, but not before the cougar gave it some unwanted body piercings. A crazy confrontation went down between a puma and a bear here. The puma thought it'd be a good idea to attack the bear, but the bear didn't like that very much for some reason. It stood up on its hind legs and started swinging at the puma. The puma tried its best to dodge, but the bear kept coming. After a while, the puma realized that it wasn't gonna get out of there if it didn't fight back, and it decided to do some damage. I'm pretty sure both predators regretted getting into this fight, and I bet they'll steer clear of one another from now on. So, this puma had just taken down a deer and was trying to catch its breath. But as you all know, there's no rest for the wicked. Its little victory party got crashed big time as a pack of wolves showed up uninvited. The puma immediately went into psycho mode, trying to defend its hard-earned meal. But you know what they say, there's strength in numbers. Even though the puma was one tough cookie, the wolves turned out to be a real headache. They were too many to handle, and the puma just barely managed to chase them away. With a sneaky camera stuck up in a tree near a watering hole, someone was able to capture one of the fastest cougar attacks ever recorded on camera. The cougar was chasing after a deer at full speed, and lucky us, it caught it right in front of the cam. Everything was so fast that it's really hard to even comprehend what was going on, but the cougar got its dinner nonetheless. Some hunter's camera was able to catch a brutal fight where a puma was going all UFC on a poor deer here. The deer was trying its best, but let's not kid ourselves. A deer wasn't gonna defeat a puma. The puma was like, "Not today, Bambi." And after a few minutes of fur-flying action, the big cat came out on top. The whole thing was super fast, but that's expected. Doesn't take much to own a deer when you're a puma. Here we have another poor deer that bit the dust after it ran into a hungry cougar. But the strange thing about this one is that the big cat didn't eat it right away. It just left it lying dead nearby and decided to clean itself first. Is this their version of washing your hands before you sit down to eat? Because if it is, it's pretty dumb. It's just gonna get soaked in blood anyway, so why bother? While this cougar was hiding in the bushes, along came this deer, totally clueless, probably thinking about what kind of grass to munch on next. The cougar immediately sprung out, catching the deer with its pants down. The poor deer didn't even have time to say, "Oh dear," before it was caught in the cougar's jaws. After a bit of struggle, even though we didn't get to see it, the deer's lights went out. But again, the cougar left it uneaten this time as well. What the hell's happening with these big cats? Are they turning into vegan serial killers or what? This deer wasn't even a real one, and the cougar didn't spare it. These monsters just can't stop. It's in their DNA to attack other creatures. I mean, the thing was obviously fake and probably smelled very fake too, but the cougar still attacked. What the heck, man? Here we have a cougar that managed to catch its prey against all odds, not because it was a particularly tough hunt or the deer that it was going after was faster than usual or anything, but because the people who were filming just wouldn't shut up. They were so loud it's a miracle the big cat was able to catch its prey in the end. And their recording skills sucked too. This cougar captured a fawn at the middle of the night after it surprised it and its mother pretty easily. But it must have reconsidered and felt bad for the little guy after it captured it, as it just stood there looking around like it didn't want to get to the part where it kills it. This cougar was an expert at approaching silently. The poor deer had no idea it was being watched, and as soon as it tried to get a sip of water, the big cat surprised it and ended its life in under a few seconds. 1 minute it was there, the other it wasn't. That's how efficient these killers are. Here we have a cougar that decided to turn some poor homeowner's front yard into its personal drive-thru. It jumped a deer right there on the lawn like it was no big deal. The homeowner heard the ruckus and flipped on the porch light, and bam! Caught the whole thing live. The cougar freaked out, as it didn't want its crimes to be recorded on camera, so it grabbed its takeout dinner and ran with it like it was dragging a heavy grocery bag. Some guy was out in the woods when he stumbled on some real-life Animal Planet drama here. It was a deer trying to wriggle free from a cougar's death grip, but the cougar was holding on super tight. The cougar was showing the poor thing absolutely no mercy, and it clearly looked like it was going to score its dinner in the end. While cruising through the forest, this guy stumbled upon a fight right in the middle of the road. It was a deer and a cougar going at it like they were fighting over which scumbag they wanted to be ruled by, and the deer was putting up a fight that would make Rocky proud. But don't get your hopes up. This was just another cougar that was about to enjoy a feisty meal after subduing it. Cruising along in her car in the middle of the night, this lady suddenly had a front row seat at one of nature's episodes of brutality. She whipped out her phone faster than a teen at a boy band concert, and she started recording. It was a cougar going all in on a poor deer as usual, and the deer was pretty helpless. The people in the car screamed when the big cat was about to kill the deer, and that was enough to distract our hungry predator and allow the deer to escape. A very similar thing happened here. A cougar attacked a deer and it was almost done killing it. But whoever was filming got too greedy and wanted to get an extra close shot of the struggle. They kept moving towards the two animals until they spooked the cougar and caused it to escape, allowing the deer to live another day. Mule deers are some of the toughest non-predator animals in the wild. But just like most other creatures and even predators, they simply become dinner when they run into cougars. You can see how stubborn the deer is being here, but despite how proud it might be, the cougar is just stronger. As this guy was driving to work one morning, he happened to come across a cougar that was in the process of strangling a deer to death by the side of the road. The guy was shocked by how big the cougar was, and he started filming what was happening, but ended up ruining the hunt for the hungry big cat. He drove closer and caused the cougar to panic, and as it was nervously trying to drag the deer off the road, it lost its grip and the deer ran away. Some serious cat and mouse action was filmed here, except it was more like cat and deer. A cougar was hot on the heels of a deer, chasing it like it was its dark past. The scene was absolutely beautiful, but our hungry monster was trying its best to introduce some death into it. Both of these big cats were pretty young, but even though the tiger was almost twice the cougar's size, the cougar was clearly the one in control, and the tiger was obviously pretty nervous around it. So you know how we just saw cougars absolutely dominate bears and elks and all kinds of giant creatures? Get this, this cougar was pretty intimidated by an opossum and didn't want to get too close to it. In fact, it started backing away slowly once it got close enough to it and took a good look at it. Nature's weird, man. Did you enjoy this video? Please let us know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. And please, turn on your notifications bell to get notified when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.